The word accuracy is defined as the quality or state of being correct or precise. This word originated in the 1610s from the Latin word accuratus, which means prepared with care, exact. When I'm trying to figure out something, whether it's about history, science, religion, so on and so forth, I try to prepare with care and make my opinion exact. That's because a lot of what you hear is based upon narrative. I call it the Star Wars model, meaning that it's pretty clearly defined in Star Wars who's bad and who's good. But in history and in other fields like science, a lot of the time it's more ambiguous. It's more gray, not completely a black or white. A lot of people's arguments aren't necessarily wrong, they're just incomplete. Let me give you an example. When it comes to many inventions that we have, many minds brainstormed together and they created all of these innovations we have today. On the one side of the spectrum, you have people who credit it to Western Europeans. On the other side of the spectrum, you have people who make the claim that all of the inventions were really created by African Americans or Africans or some other race, and it was stolen by the Europeans. When in all actuality, the argument is a lot more, rather not the argument, but the truth is a little more complex. It's a little more blurred. Let me give you an example. Today, I was at work. At work, the air conditioning unit decided to go out right when the heat index is reaching record temperatures. It's in the 90s outside, but the heat index, if you include humidity, is 105. It feels like 105. The air conditioning unit in the break room still works. As we were in the break room enjoying the air conditioning, I stated, you know who the real MVP is? Willis Carrier, the inventor of air conditioning. And then one of my coworkers responded, a black man invented air conditioning. Not wanting to argue on my last break, especially after being tired and sweaty and wanting a drink of water, I just stated, oh, that's not how I read it. I read it was Willis Carrier. And then she responded, no, it was a black man. And I sort of just said, okay. I made a mental note of it. And I thought, okay, later, after I take a nap after work, I'm going to go back and see the accuracy of that argument. Now, she wasn't wrong. Her opinion was just incomplete. Willis Carrier did, in fact, invent the technology for air conditioning. The compressor, the coolant, all the other components. The coil, blah, blah, blah. He put all those parts together and he created all that. In 1922, he was working in a textile factory and the heat was ruining the product. He needed a way to compress the air so the textile factory could make the product. However, the first portable air conditioning unit was created by Frederick McKinley Jones. He was in the military during World War II, and he was a black man. He invented it for military units and kitchens in the military. She wasn't 100% wrong. Technically speaking, Willis Carrier did invent air conditioning, but the first portable unit was invented by somebody else. That's why you've got to be accurate in your opinions. That's just me personally. She can believe what she wants. But you see the point. Another instance that is a lot like this is the telephone. There was a scientist named Lewis Latimer, I forget how you pronounce his name, who was a black man. He helped create the first blueprint for the telephone, along with Alexander Graham Bell and some other people. With this blueprint, they were able to get a patent for the first telephone. The same Louis Lattimore worked for Thomas Edison, and he helped create the carbon filament in the light bulb. When you put something in a light bulb, if it takes longer to burn, then the bulb lights up longer. Hence why it's called the light bulb. That's what Edison really did. He didn't invent the light bulb. He invented a filament which made the light bulb last longer. Now today they typically use tungsten, which is different, but during that time they used carbon, bamboo, and all kinds of things in the light bulb. And this was a guy from GE who perfected that. That's another story for another day. The point I'm making, though, is most inventions, whether it's the telephone, the air conditioner, it involves many minds, but yet one person gets credit for it. That's why you can't believe history based on a narrative. The one narrative that it was all white Europeans is wrong, but the other narrative that, oh, they stole everything and they didn't do anything right is also false. History, a lot of times, is more ambiguous. It's not clear cut on what side is right or wrong. Since all these people are dead, then the people who wrote about history, which is typically the victors, whoever wins the war, then gets to write the history about it. And then they get to define how we perceive it to be. My goal is simply accuracy. No matter how it makes me feel, I don't care who invented what their race was. I care about it on an intellectual level. I think it's fascinating to see why we have all these innovations, the automobile, air conditioning, the telephone. On the other hand, I don't care if they were straight, gay, blah, blah, blah. I just care about their contributions to the product, to the service, or to the innovation that they created. But that's about all I got on this.